The night it all began, rain soaked the city like it was trying to wash away secrets, and a single father stood under a flickering streetlight holding a stranger's weight while his own world quietly balanced on the edge of survival. He had no idea that one small act of kindness, done without witnesses or expectations, would become the reason his life would nearly collapse by morning. Before the story pulls you deeper, pause for a moment. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet strength of ordinary people, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel, Lonely Dad Strong Heart. Your support keeps stories like this alive. Daniel had not planned to be out late that night. His entire life revolved around schedules, school lunches, overtime shifts, and making sure his 8-year-old son Ethan never felt the absence of the mother who had left years earlier. Daniel worked as a night maintenance supervisor in a downtown office complex, a job that paid just enough to keep the lights on and food on the table. Every night, he walked home the same way, through streets he knew by heart, carrying exhaustion like an old coat that never came off. That evening, as rain fell harder and neon lights blurred into long reflections on the pavement, Daniel noticed a woman sitting on the curb outside a high-end hotel. Her clothes were expensive, soaked through, her heels abandoned beside her. She was clearly drunk, disoriented, and alone in a part of the city that did not forgive weakness. People passed by without slowing, eyes forward, pretending not to see. Daniel almost did the same. He thought of Ethan asleep at home, of how late it already was, of how risky it could be to get involved. But then the woman tried to stand, failed, and nearly collapsed into traffic. Instinct won over caution. Daniel stepped in, steadying her, guiding her away from the road. He did not know her name, her job, or her status. To him, she was simply another human being who needed help. He hailed a cab with money he could barely spare, gave the driver her address after finding it on her phone, and rode along to make sure she got inside safely. He left before she fully sobered, slipping back into the rain with no expectation of thanks, no idea that she was the CEO of a billion-dollar corporation, and no clue that cameras had watched everything. The next morning, Daniel's world shattered quietly, the way glass does when it cracks from the inside. At his job, he was called into a meeting with upper management and corporate security. The air felt heavy, unnatural. He was shown footage taken from outside the hotel, footage that had already been edited, clipped, stripped of context. In it, he appeared to be guiding a visibly intoxicated woman into a cab, his hand on her arm, her head leaning against him. The accusation came without warmth, without patience. He was told there had been a complaint. He was told his actions were inappropriate. He was suspended pending investigation. By the time Daniel returned home, his phone was already buzzing with messages. Neighbors had seen something online. A local blog had picked up the story. The headline implied predatory behavior, hinting at scandal without facts. The woman's name was now public. She was Lydia Hart, CEO of Hartwell Industries, known for her sharp mind, ruthless business style, and spotless public image. The narrative had been written without him, and he was cast as the villain. Ethan noticed immediately that something was wrong. Daniel tried to hide it, but fear has a way of leaking into the smallest spaces. That night, Daniel lay awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering how fast a life could unravel. Rent was due. His job was on the line. His reputation, the one thing he had carefully built in quiet honesty, was already burning. The days that followed were relentless. Daniel was asked questions that felt like accusations disguised as procedure. He was advised to get a lawyer he could not afford. Parents at Ethan's school avoided eye contact. One even pulled their child away as Daniel walked past. The pain of that moment cut deeper than the loss of income. He had spent years protecting his son from judgment, and now judgment followed them everywhere. At night, Daniel replayed the memory again and again, searching for the moment where he might have done something wrong. He found none. He had helped because it was right. And yet, doing the right thing was costing him everything. Lydia Hart woke up that next morning in silk sheets with a pounding headache and fragments of memory scattered like broken glass. She remembered drinking too much after a brutal board meeting, stepping outside for air, and then nothing clearly until she saw her name trending online. Her legal team moved quickly, fueled by panic and protection. They issued statements, distanced her from the incident, and emphasized safety concerns. In the rush to secure her image, the human details were ignored. But as the investigation deepened, as internal reports crossed her desk, Lydia began to see more than headlines. She watched the full, unedited footage late one night, alone in her office. She saw the way Daniel shielded her from the rain, the careful distance he kept, the way he waited until the cab door closed before stepping back. There was no threat in his body language, only tired concern. Something inside her shifted. Lydia had built her career on control, on decisive action, on never showing weakness. But this was different. A man who had nothing to gain had helped her when everyone else walked away, and now he was paying the price for her silence. Meanwhile, Daniel reached his breaking point. His savings were gone. His suspension turned into termination. The investigation dragged on, feeding rumors but offering no resolution. One evening, as he sat at the kitchen table sorting overdue bills, Ethan asked if they were going to have to move again. Daniel could not answer. He went into the bathroom, locked the door, and let himself break for the first time in years. The turning point came quietly, not with an apology broadcast on television, but with a letter slipped under Daniel's door. It was from Lydia, not written by lawyers, not filtered through public relations. She acknowledged what he had done, admitted her silence had allowed lies to grow, and said she was prepared to tell the truth publicly, regardless of the consequences to her image. The next week felt unreal. Lydia held a press conference where she took full responsibility, stating clearly that Daniel had helped her without expectation or misconduct. She explained how fear and corporate pressure had delayed her response, and she apologized directly to him and his family. The internet, quick to condemn, was slower to forgive, but the narrative finally cracked. Daniel was offered his job back, along with a settlement. He declined the job, choosing instead to accept support that would allow him to start over on his own terms. Lydia, shaken by the experience, stepped down temporarily and launched a foundation focused on protecting people falsely accused due to power imbalance and public assumption. The damage was not erased overnight. Trust takes time to rebuild. But slowly, neighbors began to nod again. Parents spoke to him at school. Ethan smiled more freely, the shadow lifting from his small shoulders. Daniel took a new job closer to home, one that paid less but gave him time, and time had become the most valuable thing he owned. Near the end of this story, take a moment with me. If this journey of kindness, loss, and redemption has touched your heart in any way, please like this video, share it, and subscribe to Lonely Dad's Strong Heart. Your engagement tells us these stories matter. Before we close, I have one special request. Please comment below with one word that describes how this story made you feel. Your words help this community grow and heal together. Daniel never became famous. His name faded from search results, replaced by newer scandals. But in his small apartment, with laughter echoing from the kitchen and his son safe beside him, he understood something profound. Kindness does not always protect you. Sometimes it costs everything. But in the end, it is the only thing that truly saves us.